When a non-human faces the arena, the crowd roared, a deafening sea of noise, as the gates to the arena slowly creaked open. Thousands of spectators, humans from across the galaxy, filled the massive stadium, their cheers echoing through the air, anticipation crackling like electricity. They had come for blood. They had come for the spectacle. They had come for the games, the most brutal entertainment known to humanity. But today, something was different. Standing alone at the far end of the arena was the newest contender, towering and alien in every sense of the word. Tall, with sleek, dark blue skin that shimmered in the artificial sunlight, elongated limbs, and glowing amber eyes, the being radiated an otherworldly power. It was not human, far from it. Zahn, as he was called, was a Zitrian, a species known for its intelligence, adaptability, and unmatched combat skill. The Zitrians were a peaceful race, preferring diplomacy over conflict. But Zahn was different. Forced into the arena by circumstances beyond his control, he now found himself facing Earth's most feared gladiators. The human audience had no love for the non-human. To them, Zahn was an intruder, an outsider daring to challenge their most sacred sport. This wasn't a game of strategy or diplomacy, this was a test of survival, and Zahn had entered their domain. Introducing, from the far reaches of Zitria. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena, dripping with mockery, the first non-human challenger to ever face the legendary combatants of Earth, Zahn. The crowd jeered, hurling insults and objects, eager to see the alien fail. No one had faith in him. After all, humans were the best fighters in the galaxy, forged in the fires of countless wars. What chance did an outsider like Zahn have? But Zahn remained calm. His amber eyes scanned the arena, analyzing every detail, every threat. His kind had never resorted to such barbaric displays of violence, yet he was no stranger to battle. His people had fought for survival on their world's harsh landscapes long before they'd made contact with humans. His mind was sharp, his reflexes quicker than most could comprehend. And he had a secret advantage. Zahn's species possessed an ability humans lacked, biomanipulation. With the right concentration, he could influence his body's density, speed, and even shape his limbs for combat. But he had to be careful. The humans, so quick to judge, would see this as cheating. And the arena had strict rules about honor. Across the arena, the heavy gates slammed open, and out came Earth's most feared champion, Orion Voss. Standing over 6 feet tall, his muscular frame covered in battle scars, Orion was a gladiator who had crushed dozens of opponents, human and otherwise. His armor gleamed under the lights, and his massive war hammer swung lazily at his side, a weapon that had ended countless lives in the arena. The crowd erupted into cheers at the sight of Orion, chanting his name with fervor. He was the hero of the games, the undefeated champion. And now, he was about to face a non-human for the first time. Zahn narrowed his eyes, studying his opponent. Orion's strength was undeniable, but brute force wasn't everything. The Zitrian knew he would have to outthink the human, exploit his overconfidence. The first move would be critical. The announcer's voice echoed once more, "Let the battle begin." Orion wasted no time. With a thunderous battle cry, he charged toward Zahn, his war hammer raised high, ready to deliver a crushing blow. The crowd roared, hungry for the violence they had come to see. Zahn reacted swiftly. He sidestepped the first strike with inhuman speed, his body seeming to blur as Orion's hammer slammed into the ground, sending a shockwave through the sand. The Zitrian moved fluidly, his elongated limbs allowing him to dodge and weave as Orion swung again and again, each strike more furious than the last. The crowd's cheers grew louder, but confusion began to spread. How was the alien avoiding Orion's attacks so effortlessly? Zahn's movements were graceful, almost too fast for the human eye to follow. He wasn't engaging in a frontal assault. Instead, he was testing Orion, measuring his strength and stamina. The arena floor shook as Orion bellowed in frustration, swinging wildly. "Stand still and fight," he growled, but Zahn remained elusive, always a step ahead. And then, the moment came. Orion, overcommit in his fury, swung his hammer in a wide arc. But Zahn anticipated the move. In an instant, the Zitrian lunged forward, his limbs shifting with a fluid grace, and landed a precise strike to the back of Orion's knee. The human champion staggered, his balance momentarily lost. The crowd gasped, unsure of what they were witnessing. Zahn pressed the advantage. His arm, now shaped into a hardened blade-like appendage, slashed through the air, striking Orion's armored chest. The blow sent the mighty gladiator stumbling backward, the force of it enough to crack his armor. Orion's eyes widened with shock. No one had ever put him on the defensive like this. He roared in defiance and swung his hammer once more, but Zahn was too quick. The alien ducked under the blow and delivered a powerful kick to Orion's chest, sending the human crashing to the ground. For a moment, the arena was silent. Zahn stood over Orion, his breathing steady, his amber eyes glowing with calm intensity. He could end it now. One more strike, and the human champion would fall. The crowd waited, breathless. But Zahn didn't move. Instead, he lowered his blade-like arm, allowing it to shift back into its natural form. He had proven his point. He didn't need to kill Orion to win. Victory wasn't just about survival, it was about honor, about showing humanity that there was strength and restraint. The crowd didn't know how to react. They had expected blood, carnage. Instead, they saw an alien who had bested their champion with skill and precision and had chosen to spare him. Orion, battered but not broken, stared up at Zahn with a mix of anger and respect. He hadn't expected mercy from a non-human. Slowly, painfully, he got to his feet, his war hammer dragging in the sand. The announcer's voice echoed through the arena once more. Victory goes to Zahn, the non-human challenger. The crowd erupted, some in anger, others in awe. Zahn, standing tall in the center of the arena, had done the impossible. He had proven that a non-human could defeat Earth's greatest gladiator not with brute force, but with intelligence, agility, and mercy. As Zahn turned and walked toward the arena gates, the chants of the crowd shifted. They no longer jeered at the outsider. They called his name. In that moment, Zahn knew he had earned something far greater than victory. He had earned their respect. And in the end, that was more powerful than any weapon. As Zahn left the arena, the chants of his name growing louder behind him, he felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. The roaring of the crowd had shifted from mockery to admiration. It was an unexpected outcome, not just for the humans, but for Zahn himself. He had come here to prove that strength wasn't just about power. It was about discipline, control, and the ability to choose a different path when violence was not the only answer. The gates closed behind him, sealing off the chaotic energy of the arena. Zahn's footsteps echoed through the dimly lit hallway, and the alien warrior allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. He had not only survived the human arena, but he had transformed it. Today, he had planted a seed of change in a place built on the foundations of brutality. As he walked, a familiar figure appeared in the corridor ahead, his handler, Kale, a human who had quietly supported him throughout his time on Earth. "You did it," Kale said with a smirk, his arms crossed. "You won, and you didn't even have to kill him." Zahn's amber eyes glowed softly in the shadows. Victory was never about killing Kale. It was about showing them that there are other ways to win. Kale nodded thoughtfully. "They weren't ready for that. You might have just changed the way they see us." Zahn paused, his gaze distant. "Perhaps, but humans are unpredictable. Change doesn't come easily." The sound of footsteps echoed from behind them, and Zahn turned to see Orion Voss, battered, bruised, but walking with purpose, approaching. The human gladiator stopped a few paces away from Zahn, his eyes sharp but no longer hostile. "You spared me," Orion said, his voice low, his pride clearly struggling with the admission. "Why?" Zahn met his gaze calmly. "Because killing you wouldn't have proved anything. I fought to survive, not to destroy." Orion stared at him for a long moment, the weight of those words sinking in. Slowly, the human nodded, extending a hand. "I won't forget this." Zahn studied the outstretched hand, understanding the gesture. He clasped Orion's forearm, a sign of mutual respect. "You fought well," Zahn said. "So did you," Orion replied, with a rare flicker of a smile. With that, Orion turned and walked away, leaving Zahn and Kale alone in the quiet corridor. The arena may have belonged to humanity, but today it had become something more, something that transcended the barriers of species and culture. "Come on," Kale said with a grin. "I think you've earned a little time away from the spotlight." As they made their way deeper into the arena's corridors, Zahn knew that this was only the beginning. The arena, once a place of blood and violence, now had the potential to become something far greater, a stage where not just strength, but honor and respect could shine. And Zahn, the non-human who had faced the arena and emerged victorious, had shown the galaxy that true power was not in destruction, but in the choices one made when standing at the edge of it. In the end, it wasn't just about the fight, it was about the message, and Zahn had delivered it loud and clear.